Welcome to the InfiNOT podcast. I'm Kiernimbus, and this is my co-host Daka. Say hello.
Hi.
We're focused on the casual nature of the game and talking about our experiences playing it. This week, we'll be covering all the new stuff with the balance update. We'll be talking about a little bit of a spoiler for the next season coming up. And we'll also just be talking about our experience with the game so far and sort of introducing ourselves. So, without further ado, Daka, how long have you been playing the game? Why'd you start playing the game? What's up with you? Who are you?
I don't think I've really been playing the game that long, right? It's only been, what was my first day playing Marvel Snap? June 7th, so it's been a little over a month. Played a lot of this game in not a long time.
No kidding, yeah.
Unfortunate circumstances happened, which knocked out my power for a long time, so I was just grinding Marvel Snap on my phone. I'm sitting at a nice collection level 2,117.
Holy moly.
Got a good bit of game time under my belt, I'd say, but a very casual gamer.
I would say, like, you and I are not entering tournaments.
No.
You and I are not, like, thinking about the meta game of Marvel Snap 24/7.
Definitely not.
I stream the game, but the highest rank I've ever gotten is, like, 65. And I don't think I'll ever make it to Infinite because it is such a time commitment and you usually have to play the meta. For me, I find it most enjoyable playing Marvel Snap when I can deck build. That's like my favorite thing to do in this game.
I think I can make it to Vibranium. I think I got that dog in me enough to make it to Vibranium.
I'm not saying it's not impossible, but right now we are the InfiNOT podcast because we're not infinite players.
It's true, we're not there.
But that being said, for me, I've been playing since global launch. I had watched some Marvel Snap content before that, and I started streaming the game something like 3 months ago-ish. And
sounds about right.
yeah, and I have a small YouTube channel that's doing okay. I'm pretty happy with it. I personally love this game just because it's both a combination of the things that I loved most about Hearthstone without any of the hiccups. And it also features Marvel characters, which I'm super into. I love the comics. I've also watched the entirety of the MCU. I'm a big fan of that. So, yeah, Marvel Snap just hits all the right buttons, I think.
Yeah. It is, frankly, a miracle that I'm playing this game because it's a card game. I have never liked card games, and I've tried all of them. Tried playing Pokemon, tried Yu-Gi-Oh!, tried Magic the Gathering, I played Hearthstone, tried playing Magic the Gathering online. I tried Legends of Runeterra, and each and every one I was like, yeah, not for me. I even tried Gwent.
Wow, I haven't tried Gwent.
Gwent, well, hey, well, I don't know. It's not really worth getting into because I'm pretty sure they're shutting Gwent down.
Oh no, that's sad.
But I fell in love with Marvel Snap because I watched a good friend of mine play it.
Oh, well,
actually, I think he streamed it.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and I was like, man, this looks kind of cool. I like Marvel characters. I have not read a single Marvel comic, but I've watched, like, all Marvel media for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to dive into. It's kind of daunting. My advice for anybody that's trying to get into comics is just pick a comic. The best way to get into comics is just taking a slice, just a sliver of the universe and exploring that until you're done with that slice. That being said, what I love about Marvel Snap is it's simple, it's not complex. The most complex cards have like 3 lines of text, and Ben Brode, he's the sort of visionary for the game. He came from Hearthstone, and when he made this game, he wanted to make a card game to appeal to people like you, Daka, but also to people like me. I play a lot of card games. I played Magic, I played Yu-Gi-Oh!, I played Pokemon, I did all the things, right? And coming to this game, it can sort of feel like it's too simple, but it's not. There's a level of complexity in this game, even though it only has 12 cards in a deck, right? I think there's a sort of universal appeal for Marvel Snap, and I love it. It's a fantastic game. That all being said, what do you think?
What do I think about Marvel Snap as a card game?
Yeah, I mean, you said that you liked it, but
I think it's great, me personally, because, I mean, it's like you said, it's pretty simple, but it's also, I feel like the Cards themselves aren't too complex, but between different cards, locations, and card effects and stuff, you can get really unique interactions. And like the big thing for me, which I'm sure it's a thing in other card games too, but I never got into them enough to take notice of it, is playing different cards in different orders.
Oh
Like
yeah.
being, like if you played Iron Fist, Human Torch, Ghost Spider, you want to make sure that you play it in that order. Or like if you somehow, I don't know, got like a free Arm Zola, you can like know to Artem Zola before you throw down your other cards on that location.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a
I
good
like
point.
all the interactions like that. And then there are the interactions like Spider-Man.
Yeah, the control cards in this game do make me feel sad. It's just there's not a lot of space, so it really sucks when things get blocked like that.
Not gonna lie though, one of my new favorite combos, hands down, is Mojo Doc.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Doc Ock is a fun card. I don't see him played nearly as much as you would think. Because like I guess the idea is that typically if you do that, then you're just throwing that lane because they're gonna have more power than you. But at the same time, you ruin their strategy. So I don't know. I think it's a good card. With some of our experience out of the way, I do want to talk about new stuff. There's a lot of great things going on right now in Marvel Snap, and maybe some like I've heard some discourse online that it's not as amazing as some other people are saying. But before we get into like spotlight caches and how that's going, I did want to talk about the buffs and nerfs that happened to cards. I do have a list up here from SnapFan. And I don't know if these necessarily affect you or me, but I do think that they're interesting. Have you looked at the patch notes at all?
I have not, but I'm not going to say the theories because I will listen to them as they go off. But I feel like I've seen a few cards played, and I'm just like that's not how that works, which makes sense because a patch came out. But I'll have to see.
Okay, yeah. So first things first. They attacked High Evolutionary. Fact is, he's like one of the most played decks in the game. I run into him like 24/7. So
I also run into him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's pervasive. So many people saved up their tokens for High Evolutionary and bought him the day of, including me. So yeah, I mean, we're all part of the problem. But some things that they changed. Wasp. It's a 0 power 1 cost card. The idea is the evolution effect used to be that it afflicted 2 random enemy cards with 1 or -1 power. So it was essentially a 0 cost 3 power card, and that was super strong, especially with like Lockjaw, because Lockjaw allows you to cycle cards through your deck. So for free, you could throw Wasp down. She would hit 2 cards with minus power. She would cycle a big card out of the deck, and then you could draw Wasp again and just do it multiple times. It was kind of a disgusting strategy. So they changed it a bit, and now it only affects 1 enemy card with -1 power. So now it's a 0/2 cost card, basically. The other card that they touched in High Evolutionary is the Hulk. I mean, I'm sure you're aware. The Hulk can get big. He's a big lad. He's a huge lad. So, I don't know how much I agree with this change. I don't think it really addresses the main issue, but basically it used to be he had an ongoing ability where he got +2 power for each card that you ended with unspent energy. So you could very easily throughout the game get into like 20 or 22 power, and it was scary. All you had to do was skip at least 1 energy every turn, and boom, you had a 620 without really any downside. So they did change it. They made it so that it's a static ability, and just to clarify, it means that it's not on reveal or ongoing. It's just something the card says, sort of like the collector.
It's like collector.
Yeah. So it's a static ability now. When you end a turn with unspent energy, he gains +2 power if he's in your hand or in play. So he no longer gets power if he's in the deck. Before I spout out my opinions on it, what do you think?
I think it makes him. I don't know. I think. I think I'm just gonna say that it's more of a good change than a bad change. It does kind of leave it more down to an RNG thing.
Yeah,
hoping that he gets pulled, but maybe some people should just run High Evolutionary Thanos, and the world would be a better place.
Good lord, that would be one hell of a deck. I'm sure it's made, but Holy moly. Yeah, so, like, I completely agree with you, right? So, I mean, the Wasp changes, whatever. I feel like a 0-2 is still strong, and you can still cycle it through Lockjaw to get that value. But, yeah, Hulk, like, I'm glad that they made him feel big. At a 6'12", he's big, but not, like, super big. You know what I mean? Like, a Hitmonkey
Yeah.
can get to 12 power. So, like, yeah, having him, like, at 16 or 18 or 20 power feels great. And I would also like to say, like, I love the InfiNOT card, so call me biased. I mean, this podcast is called the InfiNOT podcast. We love the guy, but
He's a bitch cat.
he's a big guy. In fact, a small side tangent. They just added an animation for him, and it looks so good. I'm so happy about it. It looks amazing.
The helmet effect?
Yeah, so when you skip a turn, he begins to, like, glow with, like, InfiNOT weird energy, and you throw him down on the board and it slams. Yeah, it's super cool. You should check it out.
I haven't played it. I'm gonna play InfiNOT right now as we speak.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool effect. I love it. So, yeah, but to come back to what I was saying, I feel like InfiNOT should be the peak of power in this game. If we get to the point where InfiNOT is like I don't know, like small beans in comparison to other cards, that's a problem, because his effect is huge. You have to skip a turn in order to play him. That should not be minimized at all. For that reason, I would say if Hulk stays underneath 20 power, like 16 to 18 power, I feel like that's the most balanced, and
they should make him a nice odd 17.
Just to make me upset. Yeah, that would be a great way of doing so, like, I understand what they're going for here. The idea is you're going to make Hulk a little less consistent. It has to be in your hand or in play. But what I would say is, why didn't they just change it so that when you end a turn with unspent energy, he gets +1 power, right? Like, he would still be a good card. He could still be 14 or, up to 16 power. And he could still get the effect in the deck. I don't feel like that would be a bad change at all. But instead, they went this route, which is less consistent. And it makes it harder to guess if you're the opponent, right? That's what I was thinking about. Like, if I'm playing against a high Evo player, I don't know how big their Hulk is. I can't plan, really.
Very true.
I just have to sort of guess, unless I have White Queen, which it would be really helpful. I guess White Queen stonks go up. But yeah, overall, I agree with you. I think it's a better change than it's a good change. I don't think it's a great change. And just I'm going to try to get through these other ones fairly quickly. I don't want to take too long on patch notes. But they did change Gambit. They gave him +2 power, and they sort of fixed an issue where his effect is that he discards a card from your hand and destroys an enemy card. You didn't actually need a card in your hand for this to go off, which felt really weird. Like, you could have an empty hand and he would still keep firing if you had, like, Wong out or something. So they changed that and then gave him a little extra power. I think that's cool. I think that he's going to fit into a couple more decks. Mystique had just, like, a text change. Nakia is interesting. Nakia is now 3 power. She used to be 2 power. And her on-reveal used to be she gave the 2 leftmost cards in your hand +2 power. The problem with that is the leftmost cards in your hand are probably the cards you're not playing. That means that they shifted to your hand, to the left side, because you're not using them. So it was like it was a meh card. They changed it so that it just gives all cards in your hand +1 power, which is great. I think that makes her playable. What do you think?
I agree. I definitely agree.
I mean, it's like a mini Blue Marvel or like a mini Nova or whatever.
Yeah.
It also helps decks like Black Panther or Deadpool. I've seen a lot of people saying like Deadpool stonks go up because of this, which is really cool to see. So yeah.
I'm a big fan of Deadpool, but I swear anytime I run him in my destroy deck, he just never works out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a high risk, high reward sort of deal, right? You could build a deck for destroy that's just like very consistent. You get death in your hand or null, and you just destroy stuff, and it's great. But the advantages of Deadpool is that if you can get Deadpool off, you're talking about like a one cost 8 power card or a 1 cost 16 power card. It's ridiculous. But yeah,
hey, it's the same thing that's going down with Phoenix Force right now.
Dude, Phoenix Force is insane.
I love Phoenix Force. It has quickly become one of my new favorite cards.
It's pretty baller. Yeah, and just to skim over some other things that they changed. They changed some text on cards just to make them more consistent. Because the text in this game is supposed to be super readable and only a few words, and some of the cards were a little confusing, the way that they were worded. So they changed all that. But yeah, that's essentially the patch notes. Did you have things that you want to change or want changed that didn't make the cut?
No, I mean, I'm still a little bit in the discovery phase of stuff, in the sense of like there's still a lot of cards that I haven't gone up against in whatever pool I'm in.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I guess technically I'm in pool 3. Yeah, I'm in pool 3. So like there's still plenty of pool 4 and pool 5 cards that I haven't really had a chance to play against, and I feel like most of everything that I've run into so far has been relatively fine. But I mean, I'm not going to say that I have a problem with the character, because I really don't think he's a really, really, really fun character. But I ran into, I believe diabolical is the term I want to use here. A very diabolical Iron Man. Oh man, what's his name? Onslaught. The other day, and it completely shattered my hopes and dreams. I played Null Death on a Sinister London, and I had like 97 at 2 locations. Or no, I had 78 at 2 locations, and he Iron Man and then onslaughted in those locations, and just went from, he was at like 6 and 12, and then he was at 100 and something in like 92. It was ridiculous.
Okay, so who is your problem character?
Onslaught.
Okay, interesting.
His doubling can really, I don't know. I think it's just my brain just doesn't understand how it works sometimes.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you think that's crazy, it used to be like. So right now, the way that he works is he takes the cards there and then adds 1 to them, essentially. Like, he becomes a second Iron Man, basically. But the way it used to work is it was, like, multiplicative. So there was, like, this weird thing that you could do with, like, Mystique, Iron Man, and then Onslaught, and it would just max out at, like, 2 million power. It was just, like, because it kept multiplying itself. But they changed it so that it's just like it takes the effect, adds a second one. So beta players are probably rolling right now because they're like, yeah, it used to be so great, now he's okay. But yeah, for me, I think the game is in a pretty good spot. I'm glad that they touched High Evolutionary. The only issue I'm having is with bounce. I run into bounce all the time.
True. Bounce decks are...
Yeah, they have a really, really, really high ceiling. Like, don't get me wrong, they are pretty hard to play. I'm not playing bounce. You don't see me playing bounce. But yeah, having Kitty Pryde and then having Beast, and then you throw down like a bajillion cards and you have like, I don't know, easily 30 power in 2 lanes. It's pretty nuts. So if there was anything that I want to touch, it was that. But I understand that they want to take it slow. And before this, I think they had like a little break. Like they had a summer vacation, basically, where all the employees went off. So I'm sure that they're still catching up to things, but yeah. That's the patch notes, that's what's new. I guess next we could talk about Spotlight caches, because I think there are a lot of opinions thrown around on, like, how good are Spotlight caches, and what are the chances for them all, and all of that. So before, I get into my opinion on it, as a person that's still discovering things about the game, how cards are going, what do you think of Spotlight caches? Do you think they're good?
I think they're better than not having Spotlight caches. Do I think they could be better? Yes. Ideally, what I would like for it to be would have it be you can select a card from pool 5 and a card from pool 4, and then you have the new card, and then the mystery 4 or 5 card. I understand why they're not doing that, because it's a gacha game.
I mean, basically, yeah.
Of course they wouldn't do that. But I do think it's nice, just making sure I'm not mistaken here, the new card will always be in the Spotlight cache, right? Or did they just coincidentally throw in Jean Grey?
So I mean, there's a little infographic. I'll send you this infographic, because I think it's a really good way of explaining it. But essentially, what'll happen is that every week there will be a Spotlight cache with 4 cards in it. When you open it, you'll get one of these cards. If you open a card in the cache, then it is no longer in the next one. So supposedly, if you open 4 of these caches, you'll be getting the cards in there if you don't own them already. And then at the end, if you already have one of the cards and you open that card in the Spotlight cache, you'll get a variant instead. And it's not explicitly stated that new cards will be in there, but that's the idea. The idea is that they'll have the new card for that week. They drop a card every week. So one of those cards will be in there, and then the 3 other cards will usually be a Series 4 or 5 card that is not dropped down to Series 3.
Yeah, because I don't see... I'm not gonna lie. If they put in a random pool 3 card on a Spotlight cache, that's... like, why would you do that? I feel like that's
yeah, definitely
stupid. But I think as it is right now, the new card and then random Series 4 or 5 cards, occasionally you're probably going to get a variant, but maybe it's a variant you want, hopefully. I know that the null, I'm going for the null variant that's in there right now.
Oh yeah, that looks sick as hell.
Very nice. Null's one of my favorite Marvel characters. Please give. Money me. Money now.
Yeah, the problem with getting the Spotlight variants is you don't get those until you have the other cards. So you technically need to get through 4 caches, and then on the 5th cache, you have a 25% chance to get that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of caches, man.
I got living. Honestly, it really is, because I got my first one at 250, and my next one's at 2150, and then this one... No, my bad. It was just 2050. 2050, and then the next one's at 2170.
Yep.
I'm currently at 2117. So I only have, what's that, another 53? 63? 53? One of those two to go?
Yeah. Yeah, like some I don't claim to know the math on how everything works, but it's been said. I have read on Twitter. I listened to a couple of Marvel Snap podcasts. I've heard from other people that, like, as a whole, that means that we're all going to get more cards on average, right? You have a potential, if you're doing, like, every day grinding out Marvel Snap, getting those daily missions done, getting the season pass benefits, all these things, and winning a bunch of conquest games and getting credits and other things from there. If you do all of that, you're earning, like, I don't know, like, it's 4 or 5 cards a week, supposedly, right? Like,
that's about right.
Yeah, like you can slam it out. But for the casual player, and even as somebody like me who plays the game daily, I'm expecting to get like 2 Spotlight caches a week, something like that.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to consistently hit 2, which I feel like is an all right enough. I'm okay with it, is what I'll say. I think it's definitely a change in the right direction. Could it be better? Yes. Is it perfect? No. Am I satisfied? Enough. We'll see how it goes as, we go through Spotlight caches and Spotlight caches and Spotlight caches. But
yeah,
initial inspection, I think it's all right.
Well, and here's the thing. So if this was just it, I'd be like, okay, that's a pretty decent change. Now, the issue that a lot of people have right now is they didn't sort of explicitly state it, but I want to know if you've noticed. Have you noticed that you're getting less stuff in Collector's Reserves?
I have noticed that I am getting less stuff in Collector's Reserves.
Yeah, so basically, you can't get gold anymore from Collector's Reserves.
Very true.
They reduce the amount of Collector's tokens you're earning, right? Because you're getting these new cards every week. And they've also reduced the amount of credits that you're earning, and they slightly increased the amount of variants that you'll earn. And I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I get it.
Neither do I.
Like, I get it, right? The idea is, hey, we complained. We were like, guys, we want to earn stuff through the collection track. I want to earn cards. I want to play with the new stuff. It's so... The old system was really bad at bringing hype to new cards, because it was like, okay, well, I'm never going to have enough collector's token to get a 6,000 cost card that might be okay to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that being said, this new system, it's a little give and take, right? Like, sure, we get to play with new cards. I'll probably get to play with 1 or 2 new cards a week, maybe, if I don't get a duplicate of a card I already own. But overall, it feels really bad. Like right now, I'm at 5,000 collector's tokens. I've been saving up and saving up and saving up, and now if I'm earning like 50 collector's tokens per reserve, it's gonna take me forever to get to 6,000. I might as well just call it. You know, like
True, very true.
yeah.
I do think that they could reduce the prices a little bit. But speaking of price adjustments, have you noticed the gold cost change? To
I
credits?
have. I have. It's bad.
It's you're it's the same, the exact same price, and I'm pretty sure that scales right too. But they took out the 100 and what was it, 120 gold
Yeah, yeah.
option. What? You tell me I have to save up for $6 worth of gold
Yeah.
to be able to get credits with gold?
Yep. I mean, it
Oh.
really just feels like they're attacking the free to play players. Like there's
Right.
like let's be real here. If you're a whale, you're always buying the biggest option anyway. It only hurts the free to play players.
Yeah.
It's such a weird change.
Sure, no, it's better for whales now because now they can buy it in bulk.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But we can't have our servant crumbs down here. But
It's a really
we
weird
did
change.
daily offer. Maybe
Oh, you know what? I
maybe
do like
that's
that.
what I mean. 2,000 collectors tokens is nothing to scoff at, especially now, and a premium mystery variant.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that because if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't checked it out yet, if you don't already own like all the variants, I'm looking at you, freaking super tech god, Mister. I own every variant in the game, but everybody else, everybody else in the game, you have like so. Your shop now has more variants available. They have a premium variant that you can buy for 800, which means you don't get pixels. And after you get 10, you get 2,000 collector's token. It's that simple. You buy 10 things in the shop, you get 2,000 collector's tokens.
And a premium mystery variant.
Yes, you do. I think that's a great change. I don't think it was announced, but it's like it's just like a little cherry on top. You know what I mean? It's just a nice thing. You should be noted. It is not cost efficient. This is not the way you should be getting collector's tokens. You should wait for bundles to come out. Those are going to be your biggest bang for your buck. But it's a nice thing. Like if for someone like me, I'm a salmon. I'll occasionally spend like $10 extra a month to get a variant that I want, right? And that builds up. Over the course of like 2 or 3 months, I'll be able to get some extra collector's tokens. I'm okay with that.
Oh, I have Nimrod in my token shop. I just noticed.
Yeah, right now I have Iron Lad pinned. I love Iron Lad. I want to make an Iron Lad deck so badly. It's so my style. You know I love Jubilee. You know I love her. And Iron Lad is like a cooler Jubilee. But yeah, so that's all the new stuff in the game, basically. But do you like spoilers, Daka?
I love them.
Okay, great, because I am super excited about this next season pass that's coming out. Snap.fan has some, we'll call them tech aficionados, who go in and very legally check out the new stuff that's coming to the game. I promise. So basically, they found out that the next season is going to be Loki themed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
I have the cards here. I have what they do. The variants are sick. The whole thing is themed around the Loki TV show. It's great.
That's actually really funny because I just started watching the Loki TV show last night.
No way! Dude, it's such a good show. I'm so excited. Dude, I can't wait for you to finish that show. It's amazing. It's probably my favorite Marvel TV show right now.
That's what I've heard, is that it's a lot of people like it.
It's really, really good.
A lot of people think it's the best Marvel TV show. I really want to watch Secret Invasion too.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked it out yet. I made the mistake of WandaVision watching it every week, and then I was dying. I was like, hey,
I know.
I have to wait another week. It's so terrible. But yeah, so this time I'm gonna wait for all the episodes to come out. I'll watch it, and then yeah, that's the way that I've been doing it. So anyway, so I'm so excited about this next season. It has sick card backs. Thor is getting a variant that looks hella rad. Enchantress is getting cool stuff.
Reminds me.
Yes.
I want to make a Thor deck because I have Thor and Mary Jane Foster Thor.
Sweet. Yeah. Do you have Lockjaw?
I don't think I do.
Okay. You can still make a cool Thor deck You can use, like, you do Thor, Mary Jane Foster to get the hammer, and then you Odin after you play the hammer, and your Thor becomes Omega Big. But all of that being said, do you want to know what Loki's ability is?
Yes.
Okay.
What question is that?
So, he is a 3-cost, 4-power card. And these are subject to change, right? These tech engineers, we're calling them, definitely not data miners. These tech engineers are telling us what they're currently listed at in the game. The patch comes out, and the data's in there, the cards just aren't out. So right now, he's listed as a 3-cost, 4-power. On reveal, replace your hand with cards from your opponent's starting deck. Give them -1 cost.
Oh, that is nifty.
It's interesting. I like the effect. It's very Loki-esque. And I think the advantage here is you play this in a deck that wants to slam cards. So you have, like, Angela in a lane, you have Bishop in another lane. You play Loki down, and then you have all of these supposedly cheap cards to play that will, like, either mirror your opponent or beat them. I think that's neat. I like it a lot. I'm very excited to see the sort of decks that come out, especially because you can also reduce them further with Quinjet. Because if you don't know, Quinjet reduces cards that are added to your hand by 1. So you have Quinjet down, you have your Angela, your Bishop, you throw Loki down, and boom, you have a bunch of ultra cheap cards that are probably going to be just as good as your opponent, but now you're getting the bonuses on top of it. I think it's going to be really neat.
I agree. Did you say that there was another card coming out, or that there was just variants?
So every season we get 4 new cards. So I think Loki is going to be the season pass card, if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
So the next card, so you're not going to be familiar with this character, and I'm not going to spoil it, but they do appear in the TV show in some of the later episodes. So I'll read them out, and then I'll read their ability. So the card is called Alioth. It is a 5-cost, 5-power card, and it says, on reveal, destroy all enemy cards played here this turn, including unrevealed cards. It is just Omega Juggernaut.
Priority Demon.
Literally.
Oh
like,
my.
This is just perfect for, like, a ramp deck. Like, you throw Electro down, you can play this on turn 4, or you throw it in, like, a Shuri deck, and you have a 10-power card that also destroys all cards played here, meaning you can do Shuri, Alioth, and then it destroys the Shang-Chi before it goes off. That's huge. That's great. I love this card.
Jean Grey?
What's that?
So
plus Jean Grey.
With Jean Grey.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. That's huge. But although I suppose you would have to stagger your Jean Grey to be played on 4, so that way they're forced to play a bunch of cards there.
No, actually, I take it back. I don't like the sound of Loki. Or not Loki. No, not Loki.
Alioth?
Alioth. Because now, like, if they play Jean Grey and you're playing InfiNOT and you don't top deck it with Jubilee, I mean, what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, that's unfortunate. Jean Grey is a beast. I have no idea how to handle her. And when she was first introduced, she was bugged so that you couldn't Enchantress her, and you couldn't do anything to her. Her effect was pervasive even through locations that turned off ongoing. It was ridiculous. And there was a cheeky thing you could do, and it's basically cheating. What people did is they played Goose and Jean Grey, and her text mentions that, like, if you can't play there, then you can play somewhere else, but that was bugged too. So basically, you had to play cards there, but they had to be small cards. And if you didn't have the small cards, you just lost the game. It was very, very weird. But anyway, Alioth. Do you have any other cool ideas with Alioth? The first ones that came to my head are just, like, very niche things, but...
I mean, that's the one that comes to the top of my head, is cards like Jean Grey or...
I guess you could also do, like, a Storm thing. I mean, it would just be a worse Juggernaut, basically. Although, now that I'm thinking about this could also work in a Destroy deck.
Yeah, a Destroy deck would be good, too. But, I mean, Juggernaut just moves cards, right?
Yeah, so,
Juggernaut definitely just moves cards.
Yeah, so Juggernaut is a 3-cost, 3-power, and you throw him down and he moves all cards played at the location. Alioth is the extreme version of that. You're paying 5 energy for 5 power, and it destroys the cards on the other side. It's much more serious.
That's true, but I feel like the trade-off is that since you are using him later in the game, you're more likely to get bigger value out of the destruction
Yeah, like
because
if
people
you
are more
do,
likely to throw down their big cards.
the fact that it destroys unrevealed cards means that you can like if you see that the Daredevil is happening. Oh no, wait. The Professor X player would see that that's coming. Never mind. I thought it was going to be really cool where you could like destroy Professor X before he reveals, but I mean the person who plays Professor X just knows that you played it because they have Daredevil. Of course they would. But I guess yeah, I guess you're right. On average, if we think about like where the card's at its base, it's pretty good. I don't hate the card at all. Now if it's like a series 5 card and costs 6,000 tokens, I don't care for it. I would not say that this is a 6,000 token worth card. But anyway, we can move on from Alioth. I think it's a neat card. I'll be interested to see if there's any cheeky strategy you can do with it. I'm sure you're a fan of Owen Wilson. Do you like the guy?
I've Ka-chow. I'm a, I grew up watching Cars.
Okay,
Ka-chow.
well then you'll be happy to know that Mobius M. Mobius is going to be a card. From the TVA.
Hallelujah.
He has some variants that look very, very specific to Owen Wilson, which I think is really cool. I love how he portrayed him. Okay, so he's a 2 energy, 3 cost card, so he's pretty low on the totem pole, but his ongoing is very interesting, and I'll be interested to see what you think about this. So, ongoing, your costs can't be increased. Your opponent's costs can't be reduced. I want this card. I want this card for one reason. Is this the answer to bounce? Is this the answer to bounce?
I was not considering that when you said it. My first thought was it's really going to hit wave players.
True, so true.
Which, honestly, you can do cool stuff with wave. I get it. But wave is very annoying for me because I always queue into people that play wave on, like, turn 5.
Yes.
Which is like, sure, your 5 cost card is now going from 5 to 4, but you also can't play anything else to capitalize on it.
Right.
So you're just throwing wave down.
You know what? I really like the idea that you went with. My first thought was bounce, but you're totally right. This is like a pretty hard counter to wave. Because the opponent's cost cards can't be reduced either, right? So they can't even, like, if you have this out, they can't ramp with ramp with wave. That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I really like this card. I don't know what deck I would put him in, because, well, I guess if you had him out and you had him in, like, a Sarah deck, you would still get the benefit. Your opponent would not. I don't know. It's such a cool card. I want it. I want to experiment with it. I want to find a deck that, like, just beats all the Sarah decks. That would be super cool, you know? Maybe you throw it in Sarah decks as a tech against other Sarah decks. I don't know. It's such a cool card. I want to play with it. It's very awesome.
Wait. This might also mess up death players.
Yeah, I posted in the chat so we can look at the specific wording. It's your costs can't be increased, your opponent's costs can't be reduced. And you are correct. It would just kill death.
Say, what was the power or the cost and power again?
For death or for Mobius?
For Mobius.
It's 2 energy, 3 power.
Ooh, let's see. What's like? Yeah, I mean, if you play that, like, if you pull it and have it in time to play for turn 2, I mean, they'll just never have a chance to use death unless they played like Yondu first turn and then just have a magic to play later.
And since it's an ongoing effect, I think I guess we'll have to see. My initial impression is like if you get this on turn 4 and you play it, suddenly the like 4 cost death in their hand goes back up to 8 because it's not like an on reveal or something.
Well, is deaths. I would hope that it would activate from that point.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean, if you do play it later, it would... Yeah, I don't know. I think I would want it to just activate for from when you play it onwards. Because... And, man, I'd feel really, really bad if I was like, okay, I could either Like I could either cringe monger the entire board and hope I top deck death, and then I can win this lane with death and like this lane with null, or I could play it safe and then I decide to play it risky and then I pull death and then this guy comes out of nowhere for some reason on turn 5. Don't ask why we're here. But that guy comes out of nowhere and I just can't play death now, even though I gambled everything and got it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say this. If it applies post card being reduced, I'm getting this card 100% with 6,000 tokens.
Oh no! Miles Morales players in shambles.
Absolutely. It also affects She-Hulk. It might affect Swarm. I didn't even think about that. Because Swarm reduces its cost to 0 after
Swarm does, but Swarm gets discarded and then adds versions of himself that are 0-2. At least that's how I would assume that works.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many interactions that I'll be interested in.
0-3?
Yeah. But anyway, super cool card. I'm very interested in this. If it is, like, applying post the card, like, that's insane. That's so crazy. Because then, like, if you have a card that's been Ice-Manned in your hand and you play him down after, suddenly your card is back to where it should be. Anyway, all this being said,
Mobius I wonder
how
that would mess with Sabretooth.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, like would he just be 3 power then? Or
yeah, because people are like, oh man, I'll can't wait to destroy my Sabretooth, and they play him on the same turn. Sabretooth gets destroyed, and he comes back, but he's just a 3-4 again instead of a 0-4.
That's hilarious and very sad. Like, Sabretooth is already like an card.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah,
poor guy.
Anyway, all this, I'm excited for this card. I think that it is going to be like the next wave, I feel, in that it's going to be in a lot of decks as a tech card, just to shut down certain archetypes.
True. I also feel like it's also going to bring up a lot of Enchantress.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I feel like there's already a good chunk of Enchantress, but boy.
Yeah, geez Louise. Super cool.
Especially
I like it
since you can drop it so early.
Yeah, I suppose the optimal play would you do this on 2 and then Cosmo on 3 and he's protected.
Nah, I'm gonna do yep, I got it all laid out right here. I go Sunspot 1, him 2, Rogue 3, let Sunspot soak turn 4, turn 5. Nah, my brain died. I was gonna say turn 5 Taskmaster, but he just copies power. He doesn't copy card text.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Copy turn 4, play Absorbing Man, and boom, it's in all 3 lanes. What are you gonna do about it?
Well, I mean, it would just have this, it doesn't triple the effect or something. But I guess you're right. Yeah, you could do him into Mystique into Absorbing Man, and boom, you've locked it in. You only have 6 power on the board, but you showed them they can't get rid of the effect.
It's true.
Yeah,
I've wasted 3 turns just so that you can't play your death.
Damn. All right, well, Mobius is great. I'm excited to see him. His variants look awesome. Last but not least, and you might not know the name of this character. Do you know Ravonna Renslayer?
I've heard the name.
She's the lady that Mobius works for. She's like the head honcho.
Oh, yeah, she's almost said she's the lady in the suit, right?
Yes. Yeah, she's the lady in the suit. Yeah. So I also really like this card because it has Miss Minutes in it, just chilling in the background. It's very cute. But anyway, so Ravonna Renslayer, she's a 3-cost, 3-power card. Ongoing, your cards with 1 or less power cost 1 less. I'm gonna post this in the chat because again, you have to think about it for a minute. Your cards with 1 or less power cost 1 less.
Okay, so it makes your 1-cost cards 0-cost cards.
No. It makes your 1 power cards cost 1 less.
One power cards. Just like that.
So I want to provide you with something. So, you throw this down. Suddenly, your Mystique and Iron Man are 2-cost and 4-cost respectively. On turn 6, you have 2 Iron Mans. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. Because they both have less than 1 power. Extended
It also makes the goblins really good.
Yes, it does. Yes, it makes the goblins cheaper. Now you have a 4-cost, -8 power card that you can throw into your opponent's side, and a 2-cost, -3 power card that you can throw on your opponent's side. It also makes Mr. Negative viable. Although, I guess if you're playing this on turn 3, you better be playing, like, Psylocke or whatever. But it does make it so it gets even crazier, because the cards in that deck usually have less than 1 power because you want to flip them. So this is, like, kind of helping those decks, right? You throw this in a Mr. Negative deck, it's 3 cost, 3 power, so you're not losing anything. And then if you don't draw Mr. Negative, you're still getting a benefit.
Oh, the Morph Supremacy continues.
Yes! Morph for 2 costs. Let's go.
Dracula.
Yep, Dracula.
Hitmonkey. Null.
Yep.
Deadpool.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. In scenarios like this, whenever a card, like if you have a card that comes back to your hand, does it take their, or no, what's it called? For cards like Khazar, does it take their original cost or what it was, or what it is now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because you could get a lot of free cards down for a Kazoo and then have them be able to be buffed. Well, no, his is one. Well,
I mean, the problem with, like, zoo decks is you're already playing with cards that have, like, 1 cost, right? So the minimum that they can be reduced to is 1. There are some exceptions to that. Like, I guess you could do... What's a good example? I'm thinking of, like... Okay, like Wolfsbane, right? Wolfsbane is a 3-cost, 1-power card that gains power. It's good in a zoo deck. Suddenly, it's 2 cost now. But it wouldn't help for things like, I don't know, let's just say Misty Knight, right? Because not only is she 2 power, but she already costs 1.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out how it's for cards that like affect or that have effects based off of. Or okay, actually, Wolfsbane is a good example. What's the name of the location that moves 3 and 4 cost cards?
It's
or like
space.
It makes them move there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
If I play Wolfsbane as a 2/1, is Wolfsbane gonna move, or is Wolfsbane gonna stay in place?
Yes, it will move.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of like my Zabu decks, because Zabu reduces 4-cost cards. So yeah. Anyway, like yes, it will affect those things.
Oh, no, you can get a 1/1 Black Widow.
Yo, that's actually not bad. I didn't think about that, but you're totally right. Like a 2/1 Black Widow, you're like, damn, I'm losing a lot of tempo off of this. But like a 1-cost card that you can play on like turn 4 with another 3 cost, that sounds pretty good. And obviously there are probably some combos that we're just not thinking about.
Oh, wait, my brain.
Is it expanding?
Bucky Barnes. Bucky Barnes.
Ooh, interesting.
You could Bucky Barnes Carnage turn 3.
True. Oh, shoot.
Or an 11 in a lane.
This makes a 1 power Adam Warlock. Or a 1 cost Adam Warlock.
Oh, it does make a 1 cost Adam Warlock.
That's pretty good.
It also makes 1 cost Angela. Or, is it Angela or
Angela, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just Angela.
Yeah, dude, like the Angela
Bishop. 1 cost Angela.
Oh, man. Bounce is getting another buff. Frick, no! Yeah, because you're gonna get Bishop for 2 costs. You're gonna get Angela for 1 cost. You're gonna get Collector for 1 cost. No, not Collector.
5 cost Arm Zola.
5 cost Arnim Zola. Yeah, absolutely. 3 cost Darkhawk. Although I guess
3 Nova.
Well, no, you can't go less than one cost.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I mean,
just keep on telling myself in my head -1 power, but it's -1 power down to 1 power.
I was
or 1 cost.
Like when I was originally reading this card, I was like, okay, you could probably make an archetype out of this. But the more I think about it, it's just like it's another kind of Zabu. You have to think about it a bit and build your deck around it, but it helps the deck tremendously, and it goes in a bunch of archetypes. Like Patriot.
We can do it for we can do it to top deck InfiNOT with Jubilee. Perfect.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm looking at the list of cards now. You mentioned Bucky Barnes. There's Black Widow, Bishop. I guess you could do Psylocke, but at that point it's kind of eh. You got Wolfsbane. Patriot, Jubilee, Null, Adam Warlock, Darkhawk, Cerebro, Mystique, Morph, Ironheart, Taskmaster, Arnim Zola, Angela, Morbius, Dracula, Kang, Iron Man, like all of these cards that I'm reading out benefit from this heavily. And the fact that it's 3 cost kind of makes it like a mini Sarah in a specific deck, right? And then on top of that, like if you have her out and then Sarah, you have cheap cards. Yeah, I like her a lot.
I definitely agree. I really like that. Just it opens up a lot of avenues.
I think it does.
Avenues.
Yeah, I think, again, the thing that I'm thinking about the most is, like, this is a great backup for negative decks. It makes them more consistent. If you don't draw Mr. Negative, you're still getting, like, a reduced cost on all of those cards that you want flipped. Interesting. Really cool. I like it. So anyway, that is the September Season Pass. Now, we do have a couple of cards confirmed for October, but, I mean, a lot of it is speculation. A lot of the costs look weird, and some of the cards don't even have, like, a hero associated with them. It's just the text. So, that's not really worth going over. But yeah, Loki season. I'm super excited about it. We do have a new location confirmed. So, it's called Time Theater, and it's, you know, kind of based on the TVA. It says, copy the last card you drew instead of drawing your next card.
That is interesting.
Like, depending on your card, it's really good. Depending on your card, it's really bad. I don't want 2 Arnim Zolas. That's not really going to help me that much. Unless it does. I guess it means 2 Iron Mans. That's pretty good. If you get a low-cost card, that's 2 low-cost cards. Maybe you get 2 Darkhawks. I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe you get 2 Mind Stones.
Yeah, 2 Mind Stones. Let's go. Yeah, it's interesting. And it's a one-time effect, so it flips, and then copy the last card you drew instead of drawing your next card. That's what happens. I don't know if that happens immediately or when your next draw happens. I don't know.
You know, I like it more than all of the give player random card locations.
Yeah,
Most of the time, I get the worst possible outcome.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't like locations like the Great Web. Like, I guess for certain decks it's good, but yeah.
The Great Web gives headache.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Okay, well, I've talked about everything new in the game. To wrap things up, I just wanted to talk about, like, our experience with the game. What you're feeling, what you're running, what you're into right now. What do you got? What are you doing?
I mean, I always stay strapped with my standard Destroy deck enjoyer, like Null, like Wolverine.
All are great cards.
Obviously, I have my InfiNOT deck that I run.
I love InfiNOT.
Sunspot, Ebony Maw, left lane, and just wait their whole game. Wait for the rest of it. And then play InfiNOT last turn.
Look, man.
I am a huge fan of Ghost Rider.
I love Ghost Rider too. He is my best friend.
Another good deck for InfiNOT is my Ghost Rider deck.
Yeah, I mean, I'll if you watch my streams, you know how much I love my Lady Sif Ghost Rider combo. I have a deck called the Big Boys, and it is a pool 3 deck. You don't need any cards beyond pool 3, but I think it's really strong. And my favorite combo is Throwing Down Zabu. That means turn 6, you have a 3-cost Ghost Rider, a 3-cost Lady Sif, and you have that InfiNOT in hand, and boys, it's strong. I do love me some InfiNOT, and his new animation is so cool. It makes me so happy. When you skip a turn, he glows, and you throw him down on the board, and it slams. It's really satisfying. I like it a lot.
It's true. I played a game, but honestly, I think the 2 decks I'm enjoying the most right now is my Phoenix Force deck with Human Torch, Multiple Man, Hulkbuster, Heimdall, like that.
Oh yeah,
it's really fun. And then my favorite thing to do is just build up a Human Torch, Phoenix Force it, and then turn 6 play Taskmaster. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But the deck I have been grinding with is my Thanos Destroy deck, because guess who got Thanos?
You got Thanos? I don't even have Thanos.
I got Thanos, and I also got his baby variant. If you actually look in our DMs, Kier, the last screenshot I sent you, he's right there in my hand. I just wasn't able to play him.
I didn't look at your hand. I looked at the board. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And Destroy Thanos has definitely. I think Thanos is probably just my favorite card in the game,
Yeah,
gameplay wise, because you can do a million different things.
it's been said by some like top players that if you want to get good at the game, you just play Thanos because like his deck kind of does everything and it makes you learn like a lot of skills at the same time. I think he's an awesome card. I've wanted Thanos for a long time. I haven't had the tokens.
Man, I got Galactus and Thanos.
You got Galactus too?
Shop. Oh, I didn't buy Galactus, but I had him in the shop. I saw him and I couldn't bring myself to purchase him. I was like, I remember I originally said I'm just gonna wait for Aram Zola, but I unboxed Aram Zola and got Thanos in my shop. So
that's crazy. I'm jealous. I want to play a Thanos deck. They seem like a lot of fun.
Man, Destroy Thanos it's so much fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm not usually a huge fan of Destroy. I do have a Deadpool deck that I like to play. I will say Beyond My is a big boys deck, which has Zabu, Wave, Lady Sif, Jubilee, Ghost Rider, all of those like high rolly cards, and then I have a bunch of like Vision, Captain Marvel, Crossbones, InfiNOT, all those things. I find that Dracula is like a good way to get there as well. I have another deck that's very similar. It runs a lot of the same cards, but it's statted a little bit higher. So I have like Red Skull, Giganto, America Chavez, but it still has like all the other cards I listed, like Zabu, Wave, Jubilee, and Crossbones. And I've been running that deck a little bit more just because it's a bit more consistent, and I don't need Lady Sif and Ghost Rider to get the InfiNOT's power last turn. But yeah. Other than that, the only other deck that I've been like really enjoying is my Sauron deck. It's super fun. It's just like a bunch of high power cards with bad abilities, and you get rid of them, and suddenly they're good cards. I like it a lot. All right. If that is the end of our discussion, thank you, Daka, for joining me on our first inaugural episode. I hope that this will be like, I don't know, every week or every 2 weeks. We'll figure it out. That being said, any last words?
Subscribe to Kiernimbus on YouTube.
You should definitely do that. Do you have anything?
Definitely how it's written. No, not really. Big on social media.
Great. In that case, if there's one thing that you can remember, it's that we're InfiNOT. Thanks for listening. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.